Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Grounds, and this presentation is going to be about how to obtain a proper blood pressure. According to the Museum of Healthcare, 1 in 3 people are suffering from high blood pressure as the leading cause of premature death in the world today. Doctors use blood pressure as one of the 5 basic vital signs, and it's used to measure a patient's condition and outcome. Hopefully, this presentation will allow you to go home and monitor blood pressures on your friends and family. First, let's go over the equipment. First is the speed manometer. It was invented in 1881 by Samuel Siegfried Karl Ritter von Bach. It was a rudimentary invention, involved a rubber bulb filled with fluid attached to a mercury vial, and when it placed over the artery, it would know the pressure of the artery once it was how much pressure it took to occlude the artery. Further improvements to the invention was from Scipione Riverici, in which case he invented the cuff that actually goes around the arm, and this was the standard for future inventions. Next we have is the stethoscope. The stethoscope was invented in 1816 by René Theophile Hyacinthe Link. It was just a wooden tube, and it was meant to hear the sounds coming from the patient versus putting the ear directly to their head. They were able to use this tube to get the sounds they needed. It was a monaural, they call it. The further improvements to the invention came from Arthur Liard, who then made it binaural, which meant it went in both ears and was able to obtain the same sounds, and then further inventions came in from there. Okay? So now let's get to the demonstration. Can I have a volunteer, preferably someone with short sleeves? Thank you, sir. Please come forward. What's your name?
Corey.
Hi, Corey. Thank you for going down to see. All right. So first off, we're going to go ahead and lift up the sleeves on Corey here. Lift it all the way up. We're then going to take the blood pressure cuff, and you'll notice that there's a indicator for the artery. This is meant to go over the brachial artery, which is located on the inside of the bicep. If you guys want, you can place your 2 fingers on the inside and you should be able to feel a pulse. If you want to go and do that now. All right. So we're then going to take the blood pressure cuff and place the indicator over the artery and put it around where it's tight enough for you to get 1 finger around it. Okay. We're going to take the gauge, apply it to its location where I can monitor it. You also have the bulb and the valve. Make sure the valve is closed. Okay. We're then going to take the stethoscope, and normally we're going to place it in the ears with the ear probe pulling forward, but for testing purposes, I'm going to go ahead and just put it around my neck. Okay? So once we do that, we're then going to take our non-dominant hand and place it underneath the elbow of the patient. This is meant to allow the patient's arm to go completely limp, which will yield more accurate results. Okay? I'm then going to take the bell of the stethoscope and place it inside the bend of the arm, and then use my non-dominant hand to hold it in place. And this is then we're going to now obtain the blood pressure. Using the gauge, which measures in millimeters of mercury, I'm going to inflate the cuff using the bulb, make sure it's off, until it gets to an optimal pressure that will be able to occlude the artery. Typical adults, I can raise up to 160 millimeters of mercury, and that should do the trick. So maybe some people may require more because their blood pressure is a lot higher, and then also for fragile or children may not need to pump it up as high. Okay? So we're going to inflate it until we feel that the artery is occluded, in which case then we're going to slowly release the valve and release the pressure in the cuff at a controlled rate. Once we do release it, we're going to notice as it starts dropping. What we're going to listen to with the stethoscope in our ears is that we're listening for a beat. And once that beat occurs, we're going to mark that pressure, and then we're going to listen for the rhythmic drop in pressure until we stop hearing that beat again, in which case we'll measure that number. Okay? Once that's done, we'll release all the pressure in the arm, which should relieve some of the pain from the patient's arm, and then we'll take the blood pressure cuff off. Now, that first top number is going to be your systolic pressure. It's meant to measure the pressure it takes for when that heart is full contraction. So the max pressure inside the arterial walls. The bottom number, which is the diastolic, is meant to measure the constant pressure when the heart is at rest. Okay? Typical blood pressure for adults is 120/80, and then it gradually will increase as you get older. Okay? So, thank you, Corey. Go ahead and sit there. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So this concludes my demonstration on how to obtain a blood pressure. Hopefully you guys were able to now go home and practice this on your friends and family. And for those people who don't go to the doctor, at least you may be able to kind of take a blood pressure and measure kind of how they're doing. Remember a few things. If you are going to do a blood pressure, have them sitting down with their legs uncrossed. Make sure you take the pressure on the bare skin. And then there's other measurements you can take, which you can have them sit up or lay down and be able to kind of gauge how much fluid is in their vessels. All right. Thank you very much. Hope you guys have a safe drive home and have a good night.
Perfect.